Big exciting news to start your afternoons as Hazard Pay is back on. How about a $5,000 stimulus grant? Check, yes. A $50,000 stimulus grant? Check, yes. A $10,000 stimulus grant? Check, yes. How about a $2,400 emergency stimulus check for SSDI, SSI, and Social Security beneficiaries? Yes. Big news, big exciting developments. It's breaking today, and this is Purple. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE, and this is Purple, in which I go over Hazard Pay, EIDL, and all the other grants that you need to know about in preparation for Purple Power Live, which is every evening. It's a live broadcast, so bring your questions and comments after you watch this video. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. Go to the front channel, subscribe, so you do not miss a video. There's breaking developments by the minute, and I don't want you to miss anything. Also, I want you to be informed and educated, and I don't want you to miss when I go live, so you can ask your questions to me, and I answer them on air. Also, like this video, it helps because it puts the video higher in the rankings on the channels. Boy, in this video, I'm going to be going over Hazard Pay, $10,000, essential workers. Who are the essential workers? And what does Hazard Pay have to do with Joe versus Nancy? That's very important. I haven't dealt with that lately, so I need to explain this to you right now. Second, EIDL. It's categorically incredible, and I've seen people who never thought of it, never heard of it until my recordings, which makes me very excited. So these are people who could be getting thousands and thousands of dollars. Additionally, I'm going to use an example of someone who sent me a DM minutes ago that talked about her husband who's a contractor, and he has been unemployed and he has not gotten any benefits, asked what he can get. That's a typical type of example. I'm going to use that in this video. Finally, $50,000 grant, $5,000 grant, stimulus checks. Lord, it's all great news. So let's get to the breaking news. The breaking news as you sit here today is that there's a lot of money out there, and there's a lot of money for you to get. And I've been breaking it down for viewers between right now money, right after, and shortly thereafter. And what's important to understand is that a lot of this money is coming in different forms and faces. And it's important to understand that there's money you can get right this second or should have already gotten already. And I'm like, yeah, how come you haven't got to this? And then money that's coming up that you can get, and then money that will be thereafter. Let's go over the right now money. And I'm going to use the example of the contractor or his wife who sent me a message about 2 hours ago on Instagram. Contractor, self-employed, but unemployed since the month of July. Hasn't gotten anything from anything. Well, I was just sort of surprised. And this is sort of an example for a lot of viewers. What should he have gotten? If you said PUA and EIDL, you won. He should have gotten at least those two things, if not more. Let me go over it. If you're an independent contractor, sole practitioners, and you have been unemployed because of the pandemic, you should be getting PUA. Pandemic unemployment assistance is applied for at your state level. And guess what? You can do it retroactively. What's great news is that even though we're facing a December timeline in which the program is running out currently, you can apply now, but ensure that you put the right date of eligibility. This person was unemployed since July, because of the pandemic. So he needs to put in July as his date of impact. Then he would get employment from July all the way to now. Next, he could get enhanced unemployment benefits, which I dealt with in the video before this. And then finally, he could get FPUC from depending on where he was in the month of July to the end of July. Let me give you an example of where this sits for most viewers. If you're on unemployment benefits, if you never considered a PUA as a contractor, and you were unemployed as of March, for example, and have been unemployed since March, that's 30 weeks, okay? Then you look at your 2019 tax return. You look at see how much you made last year. Let's say you made $45,000. Guess what? At $45,000, you're at maximum benefits, which is about $300 to $400 a week from March to the present. It's 40 weeks, excuse me, it's been about 30 weeks since March to the present. 30 weeks times $300 or $400 a week. Let's do $400 a week. That's $12,000. That's just for the PUA part. How many weeks are from March to late July when FPUC was running? March, April, May, June, July. That's 5 months times 4 weeks. That's 20 weeks at $600 a week. That's what's called FPUC paid out at. That's 20 weeks at $600 a week. That's, if I'm doing my math right, that's an additional $12,000 on top of that. Why has this person not applied for PUA? I don't know. This is why you need to get on these benefits right now. Additionally, you may also qualify for an EIDL. An EIDL is tied to your 2019 earnings. You go to sba.gov and you can get upwards of $150,000 depending on what day Javita Carranza wakes up at SBA. She's the head of SBA, and she was the subject of lots of videos on this channel called JavitaLite, in which I made jokes about how she changes the benchmark of how to get EIDL by the minute. Sometimes there's a threshold. Sometimes she stops at 85,000. Sometimes she stops at 150,000. Who knows what she's stopping at today? But she generally would allow you to go up to 150,000. Let me explain to you what this money is and how you get it. If you're an independent contractor, a sole practitioner, and you worked any time during 2019 and were late and have lost your job or reduced your hours because of the pandemic, go apply for an EIDL. You go to sba.gov. That's sambertanthony.gov. For my independent contractor, for my construction contractor, which I was using the example. Okay, let's say he made $45,000 last year. And let's say his cost of goods sold or cost of services rendered, which is Schedule 2, which is line 2 of his Schedule C, was 0. SBA tells you exactly how much you get for that. You get exactly 17,000, if I'm doing the right math right. I should show some easier number. Let's say his 50,000. Let's say he made $50,000 last year. You would get exactly $25,000 in your bank account within 4 or 5 days. Yes, $25,000. SBA pays out EIDL at your revenue minus cost of goods sold divided by 2. Incredible. Now, this is free money. Why would you not want it within the first year? Between now and next year, it's free money. You don't have to pay interest on it. You don't have to pay principal on it. It is free money for you. After year 1, which is 2022, then you start to repay it back at over 30-something years. You know how small amount of repaying it back over 30-something years is? It's literally nothing. So if you get a $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000 EIDL from SBA, it's like $10 a year. What are we worried about? Moreover, if you don't want to carry it after 3 or 4 years of this, you can just give it all right back when the pandemic is gone and 3 years from now you're back to normal. It's categorically incredible. Next, what else do you have to ensure? You have to ensure that your Experian Advantage 3.0 score is 570 or higher, and you get that by going to Experian, downloading their app for free, looking at the Experian Advantage score, and if it's not a 570, do the boost, the Experian Boost, which is free. That'll raise you up 25 points. All right, hazard pay. Hazard pay is not right now money. It's not right now money because hazard pay has not been passed by law. And what's important to understand is that there is other types of hazard pay-ish things out there that you can get right now. So if you're an essential worker and you're watching this video waiting for hazard pay, understand there's hazard pay-ish things you can get right now, and there's real hazard pay you can get right thereafter. Let's do the right now hazard pay. Cities and states have programs that they have launched where you can get grants based upon essential workers, and those are CARES Act 1 money that they were given to cities and counties from their states, from CARES Act, from the federal government in March. It's about $150 billion. And so they have to use the money or lose it. Go apply for these grants. The way you find them is going to Google News, type in CARES Act 1, plus grant, plus city or county. And you'll find these are being announced by the day. They're sometimes there, they're sometimes not there, and go apply for them. Sometimes they're rent, sometimes they're food, but a lot of times they're hazard pay-ish essential workers. Categorically incredible. Next, hazard pay right thereafter. The Biden administration proposes $10,000 of hazard pay. Oh my God, finally. This is really exciting news if you worked any time during the pandemic as an essential worker. Who are essential workers? Basically, the clarity is very obvious. The scenarios that cause confusion among viewers of this channel are the following. 1, Walmart, Costco, Walgreens, Rite Aid, CVS, Sam's Clubs. There's a confusion about the people who work there because hazard pay is not for general retail. Let's say you work in a pet store. Not covered as essential worker. Let's say you sell clothes at a clothing store, not essential workers. But you certainly understand that grocery is essential worker, and you certainly understand that pharmacy is essential worker. You got that. You understand that. You've watched the videos. So what happens with Walmart? Walmart has food that they sell in there, but they also have pharmacy. So the confusion is that essential? Is it not essential? That will be figured out by the Biden plan. What's important to understand is that hazard pay is sort of an evolving situation. It's changing over time. That's what's incredibly important. Next, how much? $10,000, up to $10,000, based upon how much you made from 2000, and based upon how many hours you work from January 20th of this year all the way to 60 days after the pandemic ends, which is basically the middle of next year, times $13 an hour. So look at how many hours you worked, times $13 an hour. It doesn't matter if you're underemployed, overemployed, laid off, paid out, furloughed, fired, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, you include all those hours. The 2 things that I don't like about hazard pay are the following. 1, the way it was written initially by the Democrats, it said the employer, the boss, applies, not you. What? I don't like that. 2nd, it says the employer may apply, but doesn't have to. Excuse me? I don't like that either. The 3rd I don't like is the lack of clarity about certain types of essential workers. And you see why I'm talking about it for now. So what's important for you to understand is that hazard pay, as one person asked me in a private message about it 2 hours ago, is hazard pay in the HEROES bill? That's a complicated question. Hazard pay was originally in the HEROES bill of May, written by the Democrats. And that's where a lot of these elements come from. By September and October, when the HEROES bill was revised and reduced from 3.4 to 2.2, it was removed. You got me so far? Okay. Now Joe Biden has proposed a new hazard pay. So as we sit here today, we don't know if this new hazard pay, even though we know it's $10,000, even we know it's $13 an hour, even we know it's frontline workers, we don't know if this new hazard pay is going to have all the provisions that the original HEROES Act did. And that's why Purple Power needs to step in. You need to be on social media, hashtag Purple Power Hazard Pay, and say, listen, you can't have a hazard pay provision where the employer applies for me. I need to apply. Every Democrat, every Republican thinks that's logical. Why? Because a lot of businesses are going under. A lot of businesses are closing. You worked, and suddenly your boss lost his job, lost the business. The business is closed down. Who's going to apply for you? There's no one to apply for you. You work, $10,000 worth over the last 4 months, and then suddenly the business closes down. Suddenly you don't get hazard pay because he closed down. That doesn't make sense. No one likes that. So you need to be on social media and push, push, push. Push that very loud and clear. Additionally, the other thing that I don't like is the lack of clarity of who are essential workers. Tune in to Purple Power Live every night here at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in which I go over essential workers. And this is really what the key issue is. There's defined essential workers under the Hazard Pay Bill of the HEROES Act in May. Then there are provisions in that broaden that under the Labor Department. For example, bank tellers, not in the HEROES bill, in the Labor Department. Telecommunications, like telephone company, AT&T, that type of stuff, not in there originally, now in there. So which one's in there? Which one's not in there? Then I have viewers who understand they're essential under local city and county rules. Example, in LA County, a plumber is essential. An electrician is essential. A contractor is essential. Not in the HEROES Act. What's going on here? This is why we have to step up. Make the narrative clear, make the bill clear, and fix it right now. If you have questions or comments, drop them in the comments below, but also join me on Purple Power Live at 6:30 p.m., in which I go live and answer your questions about hazard pay, EIDL, all these types of grants. I want to ensure you get this money right now, that's available right now, and then get ready for the money that's right thereafter. We're going to get through this together. Go to the Funds channel, subscribe because I'm finding you money right now, so you get money right now that is not dependent on the craziness of Congress. And then I'm getting you ready for the money right thereafter. Also like this video. Coming up next is Being a Mitch, in which I go over the big developments and why Mitch is going to get a stimulus package on the books likely next week if he wants to save those 2 Senate seats in Georgia. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, and stay about life for more.